In this video, we are going to learn the basics of HTML and CSS, how to write HTML code and how to write CSS, how CSS variables works, how we access the CSS properties or how we write semantic HTML. So after watching this complete video, you don't need to view or any other tutorial of HTML and CSS. So before generating code through AI, you need to understand what is the syntax of HTML and CSS. So if you stuck or face any problem, you can solve that issue and can resolve and increase your productivity. Instead of frustrated using AI, you can feel relaxed and multiply your production. Let's go and see how HTML and CSS works and how we write HTML and CSS. I have opened the HTML CSS project folder in VS Code. So first of all, we need an HTML file where we will write our HTML code. For that, we are going to create a file. Let's name it index.html. And this will be our main HTML file. Here we will write our all HTML code. We need another file to save our CSS properties or values where we will write our all styling. So for that we are going to name it styles.css and we are going to create in this our project folder. So now let's jump into our index.html and write our first line of code, how our HTML index is written and how we write our HTML code. So first of all, we are going to specify the doc type. This is an important, it tells the interpreter that the doc type of this HTML is that. So let's a little bit zoom in so you can see clearly and close this sidebar. The next line of code we are going to use is, we are going to open the HTML tag. So all our HTML index, all our HTML code or syntax is written in this HTML tag and this language is equal to, and it tells the browser that the page is in English language. In this HTML tag, we have two tags. The one is head that will contain all our information about the page, what it contains, what it is about. Now let's pause. The meta chart said UTF, it tells our browser that this page is encoded in UTF-8. And the next, it is meta name viewport content width device minus width initial scale 1.0. So it tells our browser that what will be what is the viewpoint or how our spacing works. So next tag we are going to specify here title. The title is the name of the website which is shown at the above of the browser in the tab of the browser. So we are going to name our this website clean landing page, because we are going to create our landing page in this tutorial using only HTML and CSS. So we have three sections so far in the head. Let's align it a little bit. Tab alignment is a good thing. You understand your code in right way, and whenever you see code, you understand it very clearly. So we are going to also include our file that is style.css in this HTML code. How we include that? We are going to use rel variable that will be equal to style sheet. It tells the relation of this link to this HTML document. So the href is equal to, in commas we write styles.css, the path of our file where it is located. That file is located, include that all CSS properties and code or styling in this document and apply to that document. After head section, we have another part that is the body. It is very important. All our content or all our HTML syntax is written in the body. So now let's go and write some our HTML, some basic CSS to imply to that our website. So I already have written some CSS code for you. I just copy pasted it here. In root, by defining colon root, we are going to define the variables we are going to use in this project. So first variable is equal to color primary. We define the variables in this way. and we selected define that color. We define color dark, primary, light, muted. We are also define the variable space XS for extra small, SM for small, MD for medium, LG for large. The spaces we are going to use, and the max width is equal to 1100 pixel and radius 6 pixel. And as same as we are going to define for all before and after box size and margin, padding, font family we are going to use in this project is system UI sans serif. Line height will be 1.6. Here you can see we have created a variable color light here in our root section. So we can call whenever we want to use that value. Color column variable, or in brackets we are going to pass that variable name. Basically, suppose if we set the main theme of our website, when let's suppose we have used that color light hundreds of times in our line. So if we want to change at one place, if we don't use variables, we have to change at all places, and it is very difficult and complicated task to replace all the values of the CSS color light. But now if we just change at the start of the variable where we define the variables, all the values will be automatically changed. So it help us in great aspect. So now let's jump into our HTML code and write our first section. We are going to use semantic HTML. Why we are going to use semantic HTML? Because semantic HTML help us to write a very accessible code as for the search engines or SEO perspective, and also for our accessibility issue. In header, we are going to name it. We have defined the class is equal to name site dash header. In this way, we write the class names. We have two properties, class or IDs. Class can be implied with multiple sections or multiple. You can call wherever we want to call it class. All the styling which we write using classes in the styles.css all applies to all that. Now let's suppose this is a body tag. In this way we apply CSS properties to all the tags which we write in our code. As we have written, let's suppose header, we can replace the body with the header, and all these styling will be applied to that. So for that, to understand how we apply to styles to site header or class names or IDs, we will see in few minutes. So basically we have different formats or different styles to write our styling. We can write in a file and import it. This is called external writing. We can also write the styles here and open the tag here styles and write all our styles. But it is not a very feasible and viable solution to write styling in this. We can also write styling in here by writing style, and we define whatever style but you want. But in this modern website creation or in all modern standards, we write styles in different file and import it. So we basically differentiate all our concerns in different files and different sections. So first of all, we are going to define a div class that is equal to container. That let's name it container and close that div, hit enter. Here again we are going to div, let's name it class container, that again flex. Just wait a minute, let me write these classes and then we will show that how we are going to use this. As you can see here, flex, align center, justify space between. Now we are going to just say justify space, justify between, and we are going to div class logo brand name. Let's suppose our site name will be, let's suppose landing, let me spell it right, landing page. Now let's suppose we change it however we want. So we are just going to name it H1 landing page. Let's remove H1 for now. We're just going to include landing page in our div class logo and our div class main nav. Let's change this to main nav. We are going to write a nav bar for our header section. That nav will be displayed in our section. So main nav list, and we are going to use flex and gap will be equal to MD. Why we are writing the CSS classes in this way? I will let you explain in a minute. This is the style of Tailwind CSS. We write in frameworks like this. We don't use the simple plain HTML and CSS. Sometimes we most of the time use frameworks. So basically we are setting up groundwork for our upcoming videos, for our upcoming frameworks. So here we are just understanding how these things work and how we write our code and how this works. So our first unordered list will be features. Now let's replace that to home to features. Then another list will be about testimonials, TESTMONIAL, testimonials. Now let's replace that testimonials. We are basically going to create a different sections, and in this way if we write hashtag and href specify the ID, whenever this link will be clicked, it will just move that thing to the ID of that way that section is displayed or written. So we are going to this testimonials, and we are going to remove services. In this project we will have three sections: features, testimonials, and contact. So this will be our header section in our landing page. So now let's go and view this, whether how it will look like it. Just I have installed this extension, this terminal, this extension server. What it will do? We don't need to refresh the page every time. Whenever we just open the page, make any changes in HTML or CSS file, this extension will automatically detect that and reloads the file and apply the changes to it. So far we have just implemented the header section for it. So to make it look nice, or as you can see, it doesn't look nice or looking ugly. We are going to style it in this way that landing page will be on the left side and all these lists will be on the right side. So to make it look like that, we are going to write some CSS for that. So first of all, let's write some all general CSS styling for all our page. So that will be container. That is going to contain max width to 0 var margin, that will be equal to max width, that will be equal to, we have defined that variable max width, and we have defined that variable up. If we supposed to change that variable max width anywhere, or we want to change this width, we just need to change it in once and it will be applied to all others. So we end that statement, and next we are going to define the padding. Padding will be equal to padding 0 and padding 0 variable space SM. Here you can set SM, and now next we are going to define margin for it. We'll write margin and padding in this way. We'll define that for auto for now. So for container class we only need these three for so far. If we want to add more, we will add it later. So we have already included the flex class. What we are going to do with the flex class? In flex class, we are just going to display it. This is the property of our CSS property flex. In Flex, what happens? There are many different ways to align or display the content in our Flex. In our CSS, we use a grid or Flex system or other systems, but I prefer Flex. Flex automatically the adjust the our site content and make it look nice. So next class we are going to use Flex, or just I miswrite it. Instead of comma, we are going to need fx column. But what will be the direction of the Flex? Here we define the display will be in Flex. Here we mention Flex direction will be in column. So every content will be displayed in column. So whenever there is space available, or we shrink or the size, it will display and auto resize all the items automatically. So next is we are going to define the align center, align items center. Next we are going to define the justify between, and it will just name it space between. Next we are going to define the class dot txt center text align center. It will automatically align all the text center. Now we also need dot gap. We already used that class, and that will be equal to space md. So next class will be dot gap lg, and that will be gap space large. So far we have all defined all these classes for HTML section to display on that Flex. It will not, you can see here, it is showing in this Flex section, landing page on left and features and testimonials and contact on right, but it still doesn't look nice. Features and that dot and that underline and this colors, it is not looking nice. We are going to change that so it look nice, and it feel like a modern website instead of just the crap. So next what we are going to do. So first let's define some properties for a button that we are going to use in our website. These are just global settings we have written here. So .btn, and that will be display. What will be display? Display will be inline block, and padding will be space sm and space md. So these padding we are going to use, and we are going to use border radius. What border radius will be for all the buttons on our page? That will be equal to variable radius. We will define the variable radius at the top of our this CSS file. So if we want to remove all the decoration, automatic decoration applied by our browsers to decoration to be none. So font weight we want to be, let's suppose 600. So font weight will be 600. This will be the simple. Whenever we write a btn or write btn class, it will apply that all functionality or styling to that. Now let's write another class btn primary, and let's background color of our btn primary will be color primary, and color we are just going to name it color. We are going to use a variable. We have already created a variable color light. We will apply that color light variable, and all our buttons will look nice. You will see when we create the hero section. Now let's go and change that styling for our header. So far our header doesn't look nice. As you can see, it will automatically refresh. We are using the live server extension in our VS Code. So for VS Code, we have already created a class site header. Let me once again check that the site this name is correct or not. Yes, the class site header, as you can see this. We are going to apply that all styling this to this class. So what will be we don't need this. We are going to remove this First of all, we are going to background color, that will be equal to variable color, not dark. We are going to use the background for our this light. Next thing, we are going to apply that border bottom. We are going to apply the setting to our bottom border that will be 1 pixel and it will be solid, and let's suppose the color is equal to color muted. So now we have to give the padding to make it look nice, and let's padding it variable space sm0. So now let's go and see how it looks like. As you can see, but we can still see underline, and it the name of this our brand name is not displaying here. So to make it look nice, and we are going to add a class for make a styling for our class logo, and let's weight font weight, and let's suppose we are going to weight it 700. And now for our dot nav list, we are going to style it list style, and it will remove all the styling or underline of from our list nav list content or list unordered list items. So next, what we are going to use, we are going to nav specify the nav list all the link tags in our nav list. We are going to text decoration will be none, and color of all the variables that will be var color. Let's color it dark, and now let's go and see how it will look like in our browser. As you can see, it is now looking much better, and but still we are not unable to see this landing page stuff. Let me see and check what is the problem here. So let's go to here, our HTML tag. Here we define that div class logo, and it should display that in good sense, but why it is not displaying div class logo brand name in div, and as in div class logo, and what we have done in our CSS for our class logo. In class logo, we have font weight. Let's suppose we have defined the font weight of our class logo. Now let's see and try to change that to something else, or color of that logo, or maybe we have just defined different colors. Let me check inside header, btn primary, btn jap. Now let's go to body color dark. It should display the dark color here. So it may be color light variable. Change that to color dark, and now let's see what it displays. Okay, now it is looking nice. Change the background for our all the body to light. So here you go. Now our header is looking nice. Our brand name is showing. There is a line under the header. Our menu is also displaying. Currently, it is not showing the section because we have not created yet. Now let's go and create our first section for our web landing page. We are going to use another semantic tag, that is main. All our content that will be between header and footer is going to place here. So first of all, we are going in our main section, we are going to use the another section that will be equal to this section, or div class section class that will be equal to, let's close this. This is a semantic way of writing the HTML. We can use another way, that is div, or we can use spans and all that stuff, but that doesn't look nice, and we will not use that way. So now we are going to use the div tag in our section to display our content. So let's first of all name it class that will be equal to container, the class we already have written and defined, and that will be flex flex column gap large and text center. Text is going to be center. All the CSS for these properties we already have written. So now let's go ahead and hit tab. Our H1 tag will be welcome to our landing page, or maybe we can change that to whatever we want to write. So this will be a large message. We have different H1, H2, H3, H4, H5 or H6, 6 tags for headings. We define headings in our this tag. We use H1 for once or to define our main heading in the page. So we are going to define H1P. Now let's suppose we are going to do, instead of features, we are going to say that contact. So whenever this button is clicked, it will just go to the contact section of our landing page. So we just read that it will learn more. Instead of learn more, we are going to say get started. So this button, all the styling of BTN and BTN primary will be applied to that section. So now let's go and see how it looks. So welcome to our landing page. Your success starts here, and this button we have defined that styling. So far we have covered the hero section. So, but as you can see, the styling or padding, it is up above and it doesn't look nice. So we add CSS properties to our hero section, and it will make it a bit. We will add some padding, so it looks nice instead of looking ugly. So we are going to target the hero, and we are going to use padding variable large, and we are going to give it the background color. So background color will be primary. Instead of primary, let's say we are going to write it light. We can change the background color to whatever we want. As you can see, there is a little bit padding, and we can change the background color. Let's write it dark, and the background color will change, but it doesn't look nice now. So let's suppose we already have defined the muted color, how it will look like. As you can see, it looks much better than as compared to dark, but we just color it light. So for H1 tag, we define the H1 tag, but no styling will be applied to it. If we use some framework, automatic styling will be applied to that. But for now, we have to write the styling for that H1 tag. So font size, we are going to write it to REM. This is the standard units we use, RAM or pixel or other percentage in our CSS. So now our H1 tag will be much better and look different and a bit large. So we have P tag, and we are going to color it color variable. We are going to use variable and color it is muted. So now let's go and see how it looks. As you can see, now our welcome to our landing page and your success, discover a feature and join and get started. Now it looks much better and much beautiful as compared to the before. So now let's move to our index.html and create another section, our next section. Our next section that will be about the features of our landing page. So we write it section, close that tag, and we are going to write all this in here. Let's name it a class that will be equal to features, and we also are going to specify ID for it. Why we are going to specify ID? In this way we are going to write ID. ID should be one. ID can be applied to in one page. No, we cannot apply ID or copy it to another section of our HTML page, but we can apply classes to different, but ID can be applied only to one page. Here we have already targeted that ID features. So whenever this link will be clicked, it will move that to our feature section. We use ID to that, or we use ID whenever we just want to specify or implement some only styling to our that specified section. So div class, we are going to name it container and close that div. And now let's close that div class container. In this div section, first of all, we are going to define the h2 of our core feature. So h2, that will be equal to, let's write it core features, and let's name it some title. So we are going to, we will use or and style that classes later on. Just wait and see how it works. So section title, and another class we are going to use for is to, we already have defined the text center. It will center the text in our HTML page. So we have defined the header for our section. Now we are going to display the features feature card for our all features. So we are going to use a div tag, div class, that will be equal to, let's close this, hit enter. Let's name the classes we are going to mention here. First will be features, let me spell it right, features list. Another class we are going to use is flex. It will be in flex mode. It will automatically make it flex and adjust the height and width of our section according to the size of our page. So gap will be large. So first thing we are going to use is our first card that will we are going to display is div class, that will be equal to feature card, and now let's close this. In this feature card we are going to mention the heading. So let's post feature 1 and P. We are going to use h3 tag. Make it one thing clear. You can see the hierarchy. At the top we use h1. Then for each feature section we are going to use h2, and then we are inside that function, if we are going to display or specify the heading, we are going to use h3. So let's go and copy this and let's paste it 3 times. Copy paste, control C, control V, and let's say we just let the same classes name, and we are just going to change the heading feature 1, feature 3, and this will be feature 2. You can write the content whatever you want. I am not going to waste our time on mentioning or writing the content. We are here to discuss and understand how HTML works and how we write HTML. So far we have created the feature sections, and let's see how it looks nice. Like here you can see it looks core features in the center because we applied the property text center. Feature 1, feature 2, it doesn't look nice so far. So we are going to apply some styles to it to make it look nice and suitable and modern to it. So first we are going to target the features class, and we are going to padding it variable space LG and 0. Next thing we are going to do is we have defined the class section title. For section title we are going to give the bottom margin bottom, and we are just use this margin bottom, and that will be equal to variable space large. And next class we have defined the feature card. So feature dash card, what we are going to do here, first of all we are going to define the padding, that will be equal to space MD, the variable we defined earlier. Then we are going to use the border 1 pixel solid and color muted. So hit enter, and then we are going to use the border radius variable border radius. Now let's go and see how our styling looks. As you can see, now it looks feature core features, feature discover the benefits of our first feature, feature 1, feature 2. As you can see, it looks nice and beautiful so far. So there is a border and it is more beautiful as compared to the before, as all the features are displaying very nicely into it. So now let's go to our third section. What will be our third section? Third section will be about our testimonials. We are going to display the testimonials here. We are just going to follow the same pattern here. First of all, we are going to create section class that will be equal to testimonials, and we are going to give it name testimonials and close that tag. And let me correct it for a second. As you can, here you go, just T small and also T small. Here we have, as we have mentioned already, the testimonial ID here. As you can see in our unordered list testimonials, so that make sure the spellings are correct and it looks nice. So in testimonial section, now we are going to use the class container as we mentioned earlier in our previous section. Div class is equal to close that div and let's name it container, but it is going to display all the content in container. So next we are going to display the p tag, a header for our container. Header will be h2, and what will be the text here? Whatever we want to say, what student says. And now let's suppose we are going to mention classes where we already defined. The first class we are going to mention it is section title, and the second thing is to align it to center. We are going to define the class center, text center. It will show the what the student says in the center of our container. So next we are going to create a div. That div will flex all our testimonial cards in our, let's suppose testimonial. First of all, we have testimonials dash list, another class flex that will apply the flex properties to how we are going to flex it. Direction will be flex column, and gap will be gap lg. Next, what we are going to do, so here you go, here you can see the div section, just a little bit tab. Here is one div is extra. We are going to just delete that div. Testimonials flex, and now we are going to define the testimonial cards in this our flex box for testimonial. So we are going to p and span. So first will be div class that will be testimonial card, and how we are just going to close it. Inside this testimonial card we are going to have a p tag and another card we are going to have is span. And inside span, let's suppose we write a student A, and in our p tag what we are going to write, we are just, let's suppose we write in commas, this is fine. This is the best platform. I have used it as transformed by learning it tab, and it will just display in this. Now we are going to create another testimonial card for this our section. Just Control C and hit enter and Control V. This will create two testimonial cards. Let's change this to testimonial B, and let's go to our browser and see how it looks nice. Like here you can see what student says this is the best plot frame, and it doesn't look nice so far. As you can see, our core feature section, feature section is looking nice, but this testimonial section doesn't looking nice. So now let's go to our CSS file and write some styling for our testimonial section and see how it will look like. So first we are going to target the testimonials class, and let's testimonials, and we are going to padding background color, that will be color light, and padding the space large and 0. Next class we are going to target is testimonials dash card brackets, and first of all we are going to use the padding space MD, and next we are going to use the border. We are just going to create a border on the left side of it. So border left 4 pixels solid, and variable, its color will be color primary. So we have created the another testimonials card, and we have used the span. So how the span will display? So first we are going to display it block, and let me correct it, display block margin top, that will be, we will use the variable space SM, and the next in our testimonial card span we are going to display the font weight, that will be equal to 600. So now let's go to our browser and see how it works and how it looks like now. As you can see, it looks much better, but the border on the left is not displaying. I let go to CSS file and check why it is not displaying the border. So here padding variable is equal to space MD, and color primary is 4 pixel border left. It should display the border here. So let's go to testimonials card span, and what we have written here. Here we just misspelled that testimonials. We just spelled the wrong here. That is why it is not displaying all the CSS we applied to that. So now let's go and see, will it look, here you go. Now all the styling we have applied is mentioned here. The border is showing on the left side of it, and student A, and this is the best platform, and all the comments here looking nice, and student A span is have a bold or better look. So far we have created the section for our features and for our testimonial. Now we are going to create a contact form section. Almost every website has a contact form in it. So we are going to mention the section. That section will be, name it class contact and ID contact. So let's delete it. We are not going to use the suggested content. So div class, that will be equal to container. We have already defined that class and mention all the properties for it. Div class container, what it is going to use. First it will create a section header for us. So we are going to use h2 but contact us, and we are going to specify the class name we already had defined for it. That will be equal to section title. As you can see, beauty, we have just written the section title and other some classes only once, and we are reusing that again and again. That's why we are using text center again and again. In this way, by optimizing or writing the code in right way, if we written inline styling, we will have to write again and again. But now we have written the style, but we just mention that style and it applies to that section. So next, we are going to create a form. Form is another very used thing in HTML or in any website we are going to create, almost every website have form section in it. So we are going to name it contact form, and we are going to use the class flex and flex column and then gap MD. So flex and flex column and gap MD will be applied to that. In our form, we are going to have different fields. Just let's wrap our all fields in div. So we are don't use, it is just to differentiate two things or two sections from one to another. We are not going to apply any style for it. So let's put label for name, that will be equal to name. Input type, that will be text, and ID name and name and required. So basically we write the input field in this type. We define type is equal to text and ID is equal to name and for name. This label will be attached to this input file. If we want to get the number, we will specify the type text to another integer, or if we want email, then we define that to another thing like email, type will be email. So let's go and copy this, Control C, and create another section for our form. And let's say this will be email. We want to get email and email. So that the type of now our input will be email, and ID we have to change the ID, otherwise it will throw an error because ID should be only once. And we also going to write it email. Now when our user want to contact us, he have to enter name and email and also the message which he want to give us. So we are going to just again Control V. We already had copied. So what we are going to name it message. Message instead of name we are going to use MESSAG message, and type will be, now let's remove that, and we are going to use another tag which is very useful when we want to get to some more area. That will be equal to text area. So the text area ID will be message, name will be message, rows will be 5. We can define how many rows we want to ask for him. So in this form, so far we have the name input or email input or message input. But to submit the form, we need a button. We have already had created a button classes for us. So button type will be submit class begin primary send message. So far for now it will not do anything, but in future or in upcoming classes when we implement the, here you can see the form section. Here it doesn't looking nice, name, email, it showing all the fields, but it is not looking nice all the fields. So now let's go to our CSS and apply that some styling to it so it looks nice. As in the upcoming lectures, when we implement the JavaScript, we will make a working form. For now, this form will be just for, you can say for HTML CSS, how design will look like. So for form, we are going to spaces variable space LG0, and next we are going to contact form. We have specified contact or forum, and we are going to use the label. Basically in this way we can access the properties inside another thing, or we mention that all the things have all the related, only the labels inside the contact form have applied these properties, not any other label which is maybe available in testimonial section and other section. But in this way we specify that only the label that is inside the contact form, these properties will be applied to that. So font weight, we just forget the font weight, and let's suppose we can just margin bottom, that will be equal to 0.25 rem. We are using different properties so you can understand how we can write in different things. So we are going to use contact form, and we are going to apply styling to input. Here is another thing to learn. So contact form text area. If we have a same styling for our two or more tags, we can specify that by separating them by comma, and we apply the properties, and all the properties will be applied to it. So first of all, 100%, and padding variable is the space small, margin. We're not going to give margin it to, we are just going to give it border 1 pixel solid, variable color muted, border radius will be variable radius. So now let's go and see how our form will look like. So here you can see our form looks beautiful whenever we enter or select an field, its border is highlighted, it looks nice and beautiful. So far this message is not doing anything. As we mentioned the required, fill out this field, this pop-up message is showing. If we remove this required thing from our form, it will just don't display that message. So whenever we need a field, it should have some value. We mention the required to it. So in this, so far in this tutorial, we have covered our header section and main section. And next and last thing to cover now is our footer. So our footer will be the last section most of the time at the under of our website. Here class name is site footer. We are using a container and text center. All this text center, all this will be displayed in the center of our footer. So this and sign and copy will display the copy sign of this. If we want to include any sign in our website, we mention and copy. This is a character entity represented Unicode. We have mentioned the code in our header section of our website, where we mentioned that UTF-8 will be used. So it tells our browser that this is at copy a % sign. So let's mention it 2026 landing page, all rights reserved. And let's go to our browser and see how it looks like. As you can see, it doesn't look nice, or it is so much under, there is no spacing and padding. So we are just going to give it a little bit space around it so it looks nice and beautiful. And let's suppose we can access the site dash footer. Now let's post padding variable space MD 0, background color variable dark, and text align. We have already mentioned that in our, we don't need to mention again and again. So the color will be light, space, padding, and background. That would be, I think, will be enough for our footer to look much better and nice. So here you can see our text is centered. There is a padding on left, right, upper and bottom, and as you can see, our page looks much better. Yes, we can change many things. We can change the style of our page and many other things, but for now it looks nice and much better. So let's go features. Whenever we click the menu item in our function, in our menu, it will go to that section for our page. Let's suppose here is contact. If we hit the contact, it will move that to our contact section. So in this way, we understand how AHRF tags works. If the page is different and we have multiple pages in our website, it will going to move that to our next or related mentioned page. So but for now in this website, we have only 2 pages for our website. So far we have covered all the basic required knowledge to understand how HTML and CSS works. We just missed one thing, and one thing is remaining in our website to make it look responsive. So to make it look responsive, we are going to use this code. This is media queries. What media queries is going to do? Whenever the screen pixel 768, minimum width is 768. Whenever the width decreases from this, these features will be applied. Hero H1 font size will change, features grid will change, testimonials grid will change. We haven't used grid, so we just remove that. Instead of grid, we are going to just display features font size. That will be, let's suppose, change the size of to 2 rm. Well, let's suppose dot features dash list and add testimonial dot testimonials list. We are just going to display into, instead of we are going displaying in a column, we are going to mention that the flex dash direction will be row. So on small screens, our code will not crashes or our website doesn't look nice. So as you can see, even on small size, our website looks nice and beautiful and compact and intent. If we don't mention media queries, we use media queries to handle the stuff that our website content is not broken. So in the upcoming videos, we will use JavaScript to handle the menu, toggle button, and other many things we apply only by using the functions of our media queries. So as you can see, our now website looks nice. As you can see here, the core features, feature 1, 2, 3, and when we change that to small screen, it is going to direction one stack one by one. So it makes our website look nice, beautiful, and modern. So far we have covered all the HTML and CSS knowledge required. So to go on and create and modern landing pages or websites or web portals or SaaS products. So that's it for now.
In this video, we learned how to write semantic tags, how HTML code is written, how we write unordered lists, or how we create or and structured HTML page, and how we apply CSS to it, and how to write CSS variables, how to make it responsive using media query, what is Flexbox, how to write Flexbox. This is all we required to create a basic HTML code. And we will use this to enhance our production using AI. In the next video, we are going to learn about JavaScript and so on. We are going to create a full-fledged website using these technologies. If you like this video, do like, subscribe for more upcoming videos. See you in next one.